Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. aBeZy is not a happy man at what Shotzzy was doing to him with the movement over the last few days. We know Shotzzy's movement is out of control. He's been taking advantage of it for years. But even aBeZy, potentially MVP of this game so far, absolutely mind-blown with what Shotzzy is capable of. And probably thinking, damn, if Scump just retired, then FaZe would still have Shotzzy on their roster based on the rumours in the off-season. Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Plenty to discuss. Nice little throwback thing here as well that Crimsix replied to for, the UMG, what was this, California 2015 event that the OpTic Dynasty won. This is the KDs at the time. Crim with a 1.13, Karma with a 0.86, but of course that's what Karma's going to do when Formula and Scum have a 1.27 average. First place, 16 grand. Kind of crazy to look back on, right? Back then, I mean, what was the bounty match? 10k for the winners of the bounty games. And back here, UMG California, a pretty big tournament at the time. Okay, they won 3 events in 1 month here, but still, 16 grand for the winners seems a pale in comparison to what we presently have, but arguably a more sustainable time for the esports, to be honest. There was also discussion about these 10k bounty matches from Aches and Parasites saying that they're basically worthless and they should use these to actually make tournaments. I know there was some discussion from these guys about what if we just bin off the entire idea of league matches and instead host on a weekend an online tournament, just like the Pro Down was back at the start of Black Ops 4 or 2Ks or 5Ks and back in the day. Back in Advanced Warfare, the early days, there used to be 5Ks or 2Ks every weekend. So just, online tourneys with $2,000, $5,000 prize pools that they would play every weekend almost. And then there would be tournaments. Everyone would say, okay, who's winning the tourneys online? And then on LAN, you would then see how that translated. We don't really do any of that, right? The fact that the Challengers guys, they have tourneys all the time. Challengers Cups, Elite tournaments. There's a lot of great tourneys to watch and winners' crowns, whereas our league matches, we don't have that. I believe fundamentally the issue is with that is that because the teams have meant to have paid 25 million, although a lot of them haven't paid anywhere near that number and probably won't ever do, depending on how things go with the Microsoft acquisition, they don't want to have, let's say you're a Florida or London or whatever, and you get bopped out first round online, then you don't get the same airtime as other teams do if everything is a tournament, which, is probably the reason why they don't want to do this, but it's still kind of frustrating, because if the league matches disappeared and we just had online tournaments instead when there weren't real tournaments, and those had additional prize money, and those were given points just like a real tournament on LAN was, the scene would be so much more interesting to watch, I think. But, some questions to be answered there, I suppose. Also, a quick follow-up on the Karma Shotzzy coaching story. We saw yesterday that Shotzzy had kind of agreed to Karma and be like, hey, if you want to come along, please do. But I think Karma, all he wants here is some sort of, remuneration, right? He wants Hex to pay him a bit more cash to coach the team, but he's definitely down to do it, right? Because we saw him first mention this when he was, he had a few drinks, let's just say. But actually, Jose here did a quick donation to Zuma and got Zuma to ask Karma, while he's fully sober, whether he actually does want to do this. And he does double down and say, yeah, I'm definitely down to coach the OpTic guys if they'll just pay me a little bit more money every month. I'll get in there and help them out with what they want me to help them out with. So just wanted to share a quick bit of this because I thought it was a nice confirmation that Karma is interested. But as yet, this hasn't actually come true for the OpTic guys.
Yo, ask a sober Karma if he wants to coach the OG or coach at all. Bro, you want me to ask him again the same question? He said he'll do it already. He already said he'll do it. He just needs to get paid. Damon said if he gets paid a good amount to coach the team, he'll do it. That's what he said. Damon, I gotta ask you something, bro. Somebody came in with a donation, so I gotta ask you. Okay, have you had any drinks today? For one, have you had any drinks today?
Not yet.
Okay, bet. So you're sober.
Yep.
Okay, would you ever coach the OpTic team? Because you said originally, but you were blasted when you said this. You said that if you got a good offer, you would do it. Does that still stand?
Yeah.
There you go, chat. I try to tell Damon. I try to tell them that even when you're faded, you're still a very wise man. You know what I mean?
Listen, I actually might have been more faded than I thought I was, but I still remember.
Yeah, bro. Damon was good, chat. He's good. You know what I mean? They want you, Damon. They're calling for you. They just want to see you up there, Coach Damon, Coach Barlow.
You should take over the team talks. I'm gonna win.
That'd be crazy, bro. You see Damon go up on stage mid map, in between maps.
That'd be lit.
That would be lit.
So who is the CDL MVP so far this season? There are a few candidates, of course. You look at the FaZe team, they've won an event. You look at Cellium. I would say aBeZy, though, for sure, has been the most impactful player, the most valuable player to that FaZe team. And given their results, first, third, you might have to give it to aBeZy right now. There's arguably argument for Pred potentially could get there, only I would say if he wins an event though this season. Pred has been phenomenal, but they haven't won anything, so, you know, always takes a bit of the shine off. Hydra as well was certainly in the conversation early on, but New York subliners as of late have certainly fallen off to a certain degree, and even Scrappy is not too far away, I think, from the conversation either. But I right now would probably say that aBeZy is the most impactful player in the game, and probably the best player in the game, the MVP of the season so far. But FaZe versus OpTic has always been a struggle for them over the last couple of seasons, and Shotzzy and Huke are now on the OpTic team that FaZe have been struggling so much with. I thought also was kind of remarkable to look at because Huke, you know, he gets a bad rap of it from his Los Angeles Guerrillas days, but if you look at their matches across the Dallas Empire and now today on OpTic Texas, I mean, have a look at this. 55 and 26 in matches as a duo across 3 games. Of course, that also includes Cold War, right? On the Dallas Empire days. Very briefly into the Cold War season, in fairness, 3 franchises have never beaten this duo. So this is mad to think, right, that across the start of Cold War, the entirety of Modern Warfare 2019, and this season so far on OpTic Texas since Huke has been there, that Surge, LA, Guerrillas, and Ravens, whenever they've played this duo, have never come out on top. And this makes sense, right? Because Surge were terrible back in Modern Warfare 2019, but you'd expect maybe this to change at some point. And Ravens, I feel like, have this record against quite a few teams and duos, unfortunately for them. But it's still quite the impressive stat, right? The most impressive, though, probably goes to Simp and aBeZy, right? Their duo is 154 in 54. Cell added him into the equation is 118 in 45. Both higher win percentage than Huke and Shotzzy. But after that, there's no one else particularly close. So after Simp and aBeZy, Huke and Shotzzy are significantly, by far and away, the most deadly SMG duo, or just duo in general, really, in the CDL era. So that's pretty impressive stuff. They do actually have a positive record against Shotzzy and Huke, a lot of those from the Dallas Empire days, but OpTic just seem to come different against FaZe for whatever reason. Now, we know that aBeZy and Shotzzy, and even Simp, could have been on the same team this year. During the off-season when Scump was going to retire, Shotzi's plan was to leave and go to FaZe. He's confirmed this. It's been said plenty of times that, you know, if Scump was going to retire, then that team needed an entire rebuild. Dashy was probably on his way out as well. Shotzzy was having the offer from FaZe, and we know that Shotzzy, like, you know, as nice a guy he is, like, he wants to win at all costs, and if that means you have to drop his best friend, or if that means he has to leave OpTic to go to a team that can win, Shotzzy's going to do it. He's pretty ruthless like that. We've seen it in the past. They call him the Warlord for a reason, when he's made some pretty ruthless changes, and I guess he didn't want to be around, given he was a free agent, to rebuild the OpTic team from the ground up, and when Scump decided to stay, Shotzzy decided to stay as well, and I'm sure that Hex is, you know, thanking Scump for that, because he can keep Shotzzy around and become, you know, the next generation of great content on the OpTic side. But aBeZy found himself against Shotzzy in some matches of 8s here, and it's just crazy, like, from aBeZy's POV, what Shotzzy is doing on the map. The most impressive one to me was this one on Mikado I'm about to share, and he goes behind the track, dives into Barber, goes through the doors, closes the doors, and then jumps up on the wall. I mean, this is, like, no other player does this in the game, and aBeZy's looking at this guy thinking, I cannot believe what I'm witnessing right now. Like, I wish I was teaming with this guy, I imagine.
Open. Yeah, 2 trophies.
I don't see anything.
Nothing open, nothing open.
One's close, one's close.
Top part.
Very close.
No way, dude. What the f is that?
All good.
Place your vape cloud, bro.
Go out left, go out left.
Yeah, top RV. And lights. Tries to hit out lights. He's going back to you.
Top RV, he's on the truck. On the truck, one shot.
Yeah, weak.
Nice, he dove away into Barber. Okay.
He's on all touch hold.
On the wall.
All the way out.
Left going on time.
Down, starting in the time. He's full stun time.
All one shot Rio.
I'm in the on time. He named me.
All on me? Dude, what the f am I playing? Nice, that's so cool. He's going wine hall.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm spawning kitchen.
Red hall. Red hall Shotzzy.
So trolly, bro.
Double arches. Double arches.
There's a Shotzzy.
Double arches. Double arches.
I'm coming.
Double.
On hill.
I hate this kid, bro. He's gonna go in the mid water. No, he's gone, bro. He's gone.
He's gone in the water, bro. Gone in the water, bro. He's gone in the water. He's left side time.
No, bro. This pistol's dog shit. No, bro. One shot. Oh my, one shot in the back, bro. Oh my god, bro. I spawned out, bro.
Why not with me?
God, bro. I'm so.
Nah.
Nah. I'm done, bro. I'm done. I don't even want to play anymore.
You're checked. I'm checked.
I don't want to play anymore, bro. I don't even want to play, bro. It's Shotzzy. He's in ocean.
P5, I'm lagging the fuck.
Ocean one-shot Shotzzy, I just got choked so bad.
So we know that it was close in the off-season to Shotzzy to FaZe actually happening. I don't know what that would have looked like. I don't really know what their team would have looked like, whether it would have been Simp to take up the mantle on the flex role. That team would have been outrageous. But if aBeZy is struggling to deal with Shotzzy in this way, and even Ghosty was coming up against him, like, oh my god, like this guy is playing an entirely different game. Kind of crazy. Like when you watch Shotzzy's POV, he's playing in a different universe to everyone else in the game. It's actually unbelievable. However, there were a lot of discussions though with Shotzzy not long ago that he's overusing his movement. He's going a bit too hard. Crimsix said, look, back in the day when he was on Dallas Empire, Crim would make sure that Shotzzy was using his movement but being a bit more conservative with it when necessary. I believe we've seen a lot of that though from Shotzzy over the last few days. JP giving him a lot of credit for actually being much smarter in game than people give him credit for. And also in certain situations, Shotzzy knows now when to slow down, which is remarkable to look at. But you know, I saw Shotzzy holding a cut the other day on Mikado, where I think Shotzzy, if you know, a while ago, would have just gone for the challenge. Either he'd have won it or he'd have died, but it wouldn't have helped his team. Just staying alive where he did was more beneficial. And he does seem to know a bit more when to slow down, but still, Shotzzy on FaZe would have been unbelievable. I don't really know how that would have even worked if there was no slasher, no kind of like veteran leader in a way, and it was Simp, aBeZy, Shotzzy, and Cellium. But I mean, you can't imagine that team's going to fail given how good they should be on paper. And of course, they've started playing each other lately as well. So I do wonder what happens. Shotzzy, you'd well imagine now after what's gone down here, will stay on OpTic for a very long time to come. He's been on this franchise, Dallas Empire, for some time. It then became OpTic, of course. And you wouldn't be expecting him to go anywhere anytime soon, as you wouldn't expect Simp or aBeZy to go anywhere anytime soon either. And, you know, they're going to probably be on FaZe for a long time to come. Shotzzy's probably going to be on OpTic for a long time to come. There were some arguments as well about Dashy, whether a Dashy Cellium duo at some point in the future can actually happen. I don't know so much what I think about that, but I guess we'll have to stay tuned and see. The other thing to mention here quickly was from the Breakdown podcast as well on the Major 3 champions to thin ice, right? Putting these guys on thin ice. I think understandably, because even JoeDeceives in his Power Rankings video said that, okay, for now he's still putting Ultra right up there in the Sunday regulars tier, but they're right on the verge of dropping out of that, and I think for good reason, based on especially their Search and Destroy performance fall off during Major 4 qualifiers so far. But I know there's always talk about when you've got a player like Scrappy, for example, who's a big name personality on a team like Toronto, that people are like, oh yeah, FaZe are going to get him, or OpTic are going to get him, or something like that down the line. But Toronto are going to want to keep hold of him as well. I don't expect him to go anywhere else anytime soon because they've had success with this franchise. It makes sense, you know, personality-wise, it makes sense. So I don't expect Scrappy to get poached away, but we'll see, right? Because other teams might make significant changes come into the off-season. And just to close out with a beautiful tweet here from Modern Warfare 2 OG, looking back to Black Ops 1, one of my first ever COD game when I was like, what, 11 years old or something. But, you know, one of my favorites to this day. The snow maps were so good, right? So this is WMD, of course. This is Summit. What a fantastic map. Remade so many times over the several years after that in so many different games. They brought it back as a map called Uplink in Black Ops 2 as a DLC before the Uplink game mode happened. This was Array, of course, which is not the best map, but it still looked and played at times pretty good. And this was Grid. This is a phenomenal map. So, I mean, yeah, Black Ops 1 just hits different. It's kind of sad to see the type of maps we have today, such as Fortress, the Zinni and co were playing on last night. But very much enjoyed your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.